here in session 2, consultation session 2. The objective of this particular session tonight, right, is going to be one, we want to discuss pending events. What's pending, I want to kind of take my time and go through the Moodle again. I take it for granted that you all know how to use Moodle, right? Because you're university students, right? But this is the first time for some people as well, and I have to take that into consideration. This particular course, we have people that are in bachelor level last year, the first semester, right? So I have a wide array of individuals in this particular course, so I have to cater to everybody equally. All right, so I'm going to take my time and go through it. And then afterwards, we'll be able to then look at some of the questions. I have a list of questions here that some students sent in. So I want to kind of go through those, and I want to actually go through the slideshow, right? I want to go through some of the slides that some people have problems with. I am going to be giving some examples, so if you have a pen nearby, if you can type it up somewhere, right? Feel free to jot down some of the examples that I'm going to go through the time period, all right? All right, let's start off with looking at what's due. I want to go, so I'm going to put on my screen sharing. Somebody else want to enter. All right. Yeah, all right, so I'm going to put on my screen sharing right now, and then I'm going to go on the Moodle site, and then I'm going to kind of walk you through some sections that I take for granted that you know, right? But I just want to kind of clarify it because I've been getting several messages throughout this week about some stuff when it comes to where is the discussion, where is, what should we do, things like that. Some people are still kind of confused. So I just want to kind of pull that up right now and I'll show you the area of the Moodle. And we're going to kind of walk through, and then we'll go to the course outline. All right, so let's start with that today. All right, so let me put on my screen sharing real quick. All right. All right, so perfect. So my screen sharing is coming on now. All right, perfect. All right, so y'all seeing my screen now. All right. Again, don't be afraid to ask a question when I go through it. I'm going to go really slow, right, today, especially because I want everybody to have that strong foundation. All right. So we want to look right now, and we're looking at, we want to pull up the Moodle site. So we're looking here. All right. So with our consultation time on the Moodle site, we'll go back. All right. So what I want us to kind of focus on right now is here. MGMT students, we're looking here. They have a section here has latest announcements, right? So it's important that you pay attention to this section over here. It shows the announcements that are pending. Sometimes I write announcements, right, in the announcement section. But what I noticed is that students tend to kind of just go on this page when something is due. For example, see, I have 2 announcements that I wrote, right? But people are still asking me the same question. So what I did, I took all their email addresses and I created a log list. So I'm sending the email straight to you directly, right? So I'm sending messages straight to you, but it's a good practice for you to be checking this course announcement. Ms. Piper's work also has here, and then she had a announcement here that talks about the concept of the class, right? A lot of people are telling me, oh, the class is flashing, this and that. But if you have another class, right, that the teacher is actually teaching you at that particular moment in time, it's okay, right? You can go to that class. Of course, we will have a list of students, right, that have other classes, and that will just going to be generated, all right? But you are free to go to the class. That's why everything is going to be recorded here right now. And then afterwards, you're able to then view the video, and it's your job then to stay up to date. All right. So when it comes to that, we'll have a list of the students that have the class clashing at this point in time. And if that's the case, If the class is then clashing, it will be okay, right? Of course, you're then exempt, and then you can always come back, but it's your responsibility then, right, to then come back and view the video. Because in the event that, let's say, for example, you fail or something like that, they'll come back to you and ask you, what did you do, right? Did you make an attempt to then contact Mr. Garay, so and so, and then you have to show proof, right? Right? So we want to kind of get that out of the way one time. All right? So let's come up from there. Next thing, upcoming events. Right on this section over here, this is where everything is a reminder, a gentle reminder of what's due. Right? In this case, today, your discussion forum 1 is due. Right? And a lot of people are asking me when it comes to the topic, again, keep in mind, Ms. Raisa is the program coordinator, right? The course coordinator, and she's the one that posts the topics and stuff like that. What I do, I come in and I grade everything and I check everything, right? That's what I do, right? And then of course you'll have everything, and then you can then view, right? View the particular post, and I see people already have it here. And of course you can then click on her forum down here, and she has the question right there for you. And if you and the next thing, some people are asking me about the question, right? I mentioned earlier that if you go into your course outline, right? I want to kind of pull up that course outline again, right? We're going back to this course outline a lot. So in your course outline also has the topic there listed, guys, right? It's right there for you. So it's right at your fingertips, right? If you scroll along, if you notice, you scroll along on your course outline, right? You'll have the discussion topic right there for you, right? It's right here. See, it's right here. Notice? Right there. So you can't miss it, people. It's right there for you. So if it's on the Moodle posted, it's here also, and I also sent you a copy of it for some of the people who are having trouble not knowing where to find it. It's okay if you don't know now, right? So you know for next time, it's right on your course outline, right? The course outline, it's right there. Okay. Any questions when it comes to the location of the discussion topics and stuff like that? Everybody that's clear to everyone at this point in time?
Yes,
is that clear to everyone at this point in time? We're all good at that part, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. All right, now I want to go on to our next section that we're looking at. I believe in giving you all a lot of time when it comes to preparation, right? So if you scroll all the way down, you'll notice that your assignment 1 is due on week 5, right? Your assignment 1 is due, okay? Now, I sent out a series of, let me just pull that out real quick. I sent out a series of Excel sheets to the specific when it comes to your section, right? If you're in section 3 or in section 3.1, right? So the reason I sent that out, right? Let me just stop screen for a little bit. Now, the reason I sent that section out is because I want you to know who's your group members. All right. Now, you're divided into 5 groups, right? We're looking at, I'm sorry, group members, right? 5 group members per group. And we're looking at giving you a little bit of time so you can then network. All right. So my question to you all right now is that I sent the list, right? And I know that after entering all the, information into my system, I noticed that we have students from all around the country. We have students from Corozal, we have students from San Pedro, Belize City, right? And now they're all taking management. We have people from all different faculties. Now, are you able to contact your group members through the message feature on Moodle, or do you want me to upload the class list with the email? So you can then email each other and then, set up exchange numbers and whatnot, and then, start your work from there. Do you want me to upload the list?
Yes, sir. Yeah, if you would have put one picture of the list, sir, it would have been much easier because we don't have the WhatsApp down.
Okay, all right. So I forgot. Okay, so let's get a list with all the emails. So I can have that up already. Because I already sent you a list with all the members. If you notice, if you check your student email, I sent you a list of all the members. So you're top of the game when it comes to that. I already kind of broke down everybody already. So we have I'll show you an example of it. Let me pull up. Let me put on my screen sharing again. Yeah, because I just want to make it easier for you, you know. Shrink that window. Yeah. So, okay, so I have it here. So let's say for example here, I have the list already broken up. So I sent you this email already. So you know exactly who's in your particular group. Then you all can maybe select a group leader if you want to kind of organize everything if you need to, or you can just work collaboratively, all right? So these groups, right, I'm looking at here, right? For example, this is just an example of the one that I sent out for section 3. So I already broke them up already. So you have 7 groups, and these individuals are then responsible, right, to communicate and get the work done. All right. So you're kind of getting away because usually when it comes to case study, it's just like, you know, it's going to be like a peer work, right? But now you have a lot of resources, a lot of human resources when it comes to getting a job done, right? So I sent, okay, go ahead. Go ahead there.
Sir, I just joined for this week, and I'm the wonder if you have my name in a group already.
All right. If you just joined this week, I'll have to go back to the class list, edit it, and then send it out again. So I'll work on that tonight for you. So I have to go
Alright,
and check
sir.
the class list again. Okay, I'll jot that down one time. So you'll get an updated list again, all right? But
Alright,
it's
sir.
not gonna be it's not gonna be a major change to the rest of people, right? I kind of just broke y'all into 5 groups of 5. Again, for some people, they like to kind of work with their friends at this point, or virtual, and we have people from all over the country, right? I think this particular course. So it's your job to then network and work with these people to get the goal attained, you know? All right. So when it comes to the homework, I'll be sending out if on the course outline by itself. Yeah, go ahead. Question. Ria, go ahead, Ria.
There's somebody to talk to you in the chat.
All right, let me check my chat real quick. All right. Yeah, okay. I'll address it afterwards. Like I mentioned earlier when the session started, don't worry about if you have a class flashing, you have the list of names and everything, and then you're responsible then to kind of, you know, look at the video afterwards because we're recording it anyway here. All right, thanks, Ria. Thanks for that update. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, go ahead there. Next question.
Um, is the list that you just shared with us for the both sections? Because I know you're section 3 and
Yeah,
section
no,
3.1
yeah,
are
that's a
separate.
different. Yeah, it's 2 sections. I have the both list already. I'm just was showing a sample. I already emailed out the list for section 3 and 3.1. It's 2 different things I sent out. Like you mentioned earlier, some people that just joined in, like oh, it's kind of drop out going on. I'll have to go and then check the list over again tonight and email those again. But if you look in your email, if you're here last week, the list is right there for you, right in your email. Because I sent it straight to your
Okay.
student email.
Okay.
If you haven't received it, then you just message me because I'm gonna send it again tonight. Then you can just if your email change or something. But I took your emails right off UB's page, so that should hit everybody already. Because I sent out an email with the discussion, I sent out an email with some reminders, right? I was kind of testing it out. So I think that's better, honestly, because I noticed that a lot of students are having issues with me communicating through the announcements feature. Because the announcements feature, you actually have to be logged into the actual management course and then open it, then you see it, right? It's not like an email that it hits you like a message, right? So I think that's a more effective form of communication at this point in time. Because I know some people you have other classes, right? So you don't be checking that management thing every day, right? So you check your email every day though, right? So I kind of make it easier for you guys. Any more questions? Okay. All right. Let's continue then. What I want to look at right now. So I'll be emailing out updated list with the groups, and then you're responsible. Then also email out that class list, so you see the email. So you maybe can email the person if you don't have their WhatsApp, and then communicate. Right. That's your guys networking. Right. Now I'm also gonna be emailing out the actual questions, right? Because of course, on the course outline has the case studies, right? It's 3 case studies, and then I'll email the questions. So you get that out. Hopefully, I get that out by another week, so I can then send it to you, and then you all can start kind of working with it. watch a video, and then throw ideas down and start kind of get your work formulated, right? So I want to get that out early. The earlier we kind of knock these out, it's easier for you guys so you can focus on other things. Okay. All right. So we looked at the assignment. Um, we looked at discussion that's due tonight. Discussion is due tonight. So for the individuals please get that in tonight, midnight, right? So please get that in. That's going to be your discussion number 1, right? That's due. Now I want to kind of move on to the course itself. So this week, I'm going to put on my screen sharing because I want to go back into what you all knocked out this week for the course. Let me just put that on real quick again. All right. All right, so this week for the course, y'all were busy, right? You watched a series of videos which entails looking at some core concepts, like these are core concepts in management, right? So we looked at, let me just go back out from here. All right, so looking at week 2 now, the core concepts you all looked at for this week, you looked at the concept of effectiveness, right? You looked at what's being efficient. We finished up with the videos when it comes to managerial rules. And today, I want to kind of take my time out because some people sent me some questions about managerial rules. I want to look at that. I want to look at the hierarchy today, and I want to look at the core functions. These are important. These are all exam questions, by the way. Right, I'm telling you that from now. All exams, these always come back in the essay section of our exam. Right, so it's important that we understand it. Right, and these videos were nice. They kind of broke it down for you. Right. We also looked at the concept of it being effective versus efficient. When it comes to that, I will give you an example, but I want to go deep into it. I can touch on it next week when we begin because you have your discussion based on that. Right, that's a grade. Right. So we're looking at that. Also, we're going to look at management in the workplace and managerial skills. And I want to kind of link some stuff right now when it comes to the hierarchy and managerial skills and the roles. So once you understand that concept, so we should be okay, right? So a lot of times it's difficult for us to understand graphs and stuff. I understand that as well, all right? So let's get into it then. The first thing I want to do, I want to kind of pull up the slide and I want to address some slides that were giving some people problems, right? Some students problems when it comes to, a little more explanation should be okay. So again, if you have any issues when it comes to a slide that you don't understand, don't be afraid to send me a message, right? I'm more than happy to explain that for you, all right? All right, so let me put up the PowerPoint real quick. All right, so it's up. We want to start by looking at this slide right here. Okay, so that's slide number 5. If you have a notebook or something to write with, I'm just gonna kind of break this down for you and give you some examples. All right. Now, when it comes to management, it's important to remember that all organizations need management, right, to function, right, in all levels, and we have different levels of management. All right. So you have from the CEO of a company all the way down to the janitor, right? Office cleaner, right? So, but they're all part of the organization, okay? And from the video you watched earlier, because you all right now you have a good understanding of this, right? At this point, but I just want to kind of take my time and break it down a little bit more for you because some students are asking me about the link, right? You have the link. All right. So, our managers, right, look at particular roles they play. So before I even come here, let me come back up a little bit. All right. So I want to kind of look at this first. So we look at functions, right? Roles and functions. So we have planning, organizing, leading, controlling. All right. So we're looking at slide number 17. I want to go to slide number 17 real quick for everybody. All right. Now, when we talk about these different levels, it's important to remember that a lot of energy goes when it comes to each level, it's like a cycle, right? Like a cycle, all right? An example of this would be, let's say you're starting a business for the first time. Um, at UB, sometimes you do like a marketing expo, right? A marketing expo whereby you have like come up with a product, right? You come up with a product and you sell it, right? And afterwards you get graded, what's not. All right. In secondary school, we do it in like a business course does as well, but they do it like 2 times. They do it in third form and fourth form. So just like everything else, when you do something more than once, you get better at it. Okay? So when you open a business for the first time, you'll have problems, you have issues, but then what? You're able to then identify the problem and then fix it. So you're always improving your product over time, right? It's like a cycle. Okay? Right, so it's a continuous cycle, like it's going around and around. Now, planning. When you talk about planning, I believe that planning is the most important, right? Most important function, right, of management, right? A lot of time is spent in planning, all right? When you create a business, one of the first things the bank will ask you is they want to see for funding, right? They want to see a business plan, right? They want to see a business plan. And the business plan then details and outline, right, the business, what's about, mission statement, vision statement, when it comes to resources it needs and how it's going to operate, right? So you follow a plan. We can even go further back and saying that, let's say, go like a construction example. When you build a house, the person that's constructing a house don't stick blocks anywhere, right? They follow a blueprint. Right? The blueprint that they look at is the plan, right? So if you have a good blueprint, if you follow a blueprint properly, then you can execute a perfect house, right? Because you're following a plan, right? Blueprint plan, okay? So when it comes to planning, planning is one of the functions that managers invest the most time in, but you don't see it. You don't see it because it happens behind closed doors, right? Because when they're in board meetings, when they're in seminars, when they're in workshops, right? They go on like 2 weeks workshops and stuff. There's a lot of planning goes on, right, in the company. But we don't see it as workers, right? What we see the controlling part at the bottom, right? That controlling part we see because that's when you see the manager goes wrong and all right, they check, if you're doing this, if you're doing that, they're supervising, right? A lot of people think that managers just walk around and supervise, right? Which that's not the case. All right. So planning is a very, very important function, right? A lot of time is invested in, right? So you're defining goals, you're looking at strategies, right, to achieve those goals. All right. They have different things that can occur, right? Sometimes to change the plan, right? Especially now, you notice that we have a pandemic going on. So some businesses have to change the plan, right? So if it's a store that was like a walk-in store, now they have to go online, right? So change the entire plan. Right? But the goal remains the same. You're looking at that particular goal to achieve. Okay. So next, looking at organizing. Organizing looks at structuring, right? Accomplishing those goals. So you're looking at now the structure part of it. Leading, working towards people and accomplishing goals, right? Working through people, sorry. And we have a section here we're going to talk about leadership. Very important. That is question that talks about if you're a great, you have leadership, like a leader versus a manager. All right, are they the same? What do y'all think? Leader and manager. So if you're a great leader, that means you're a great manager. Y'all still with me? Hello.
Probably, sir.
What y'all
One leader.
think?
Oh.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, you're a great leader. You're an excellent leader. Does that mean you're a great manager?
No, sir.
No, right? Think about it. Think about it. Or if you're a great manager, that means you're a great leader.
No, sir.
No.
It's different, right?
No.
It's different, right? It's different. It's different, right? Because when you talk about leadership, they have some people, especially like politicians, right? We don't want to be political, right? But they have some people that, they're good at when it comes to that one-to-one contact with people. Like, you talk to them, you talk to some politicians that, like, man, when they walk away, like, you feel like you're so important and, you're going to get everything that they promised you. Things like that, right? Because they have that good interpersonal skills, right? They can good at influencing. But now, manager different, right? Why is the manager different? Is because the manager talks about how they're supervising and coordinating resources, how they can manage resources. Okay? Because some people can manage really well, but they can't lead, right? They can't lead people. That's important, right? So we're gonna talk about that's a whole chapter by itself. We're gonna touch on leadership. So I don't want to get into that too much, but we're gonna talk about a different type of leadership, right? And difference between being an effective leader and a manager, right? Very, very interesting topic, right? And we have some really influential people in this class right now, right? And when they talk, people kind of follow them easily, right? So we're gonna talk about the difference between those two. The last one we're gonna look at also here is controlling, and just to kind of give you a heads up, each one of these functions we're gonna go like entirely into, like in depth, right? I'm gonna break it down, right, throughout the course, of course. So controlling, again, that's the part that we all see as an employee. Let's say, for example, I work at a call center right now. I'm doing my work and I see my supervisor walking around every minute, looking, listening into my calls, you know? He's controlling, and he's monitoring, right? And afterwards, you're going to correct your work and stuff like that. So that's what you see as an employee majority of the time, but you don't see the planning part, right? But before that section, you have to have a lot of planning right in place. So those are basically 4 functions of management. And like I said earlier, I just want to kind of give you an outline so some people kind of, want a little bit more explanation about it. We're going to be going through each one of them, right? Section by section throughout the course. So this is like an intro for it. Okay, any questions here? Everybody kind of cool at this one? All right. All right, so I want to go to the next one now. This is the first one. I want to go to the next question here, which was the structure. Yeah. Just gonna to reiterate what I mentioned earlier. Manager, right? Someone who coordinates and oversees the work of others in organizations, right? Looking at their goals. It's important to remember that a manager is one of the positions in an organization that's very lucrative. People always want to be the manager, right? But that person has a lot of pressure as well, right? Because let's say, for example, I was giving the example last time with courts, right? That's an easy example to give right now. Courts that sells like, furniture and stuff at hire purchase. Each branch that they have a financial target that they have to hit every month. Let's say you have the Punta Gorda branch, the Blue City branch, right? The Riga branch. So for the month, like let's say, for example, the Blue City branch has to hit, let's say, $90,000 minimum for the month. That's their goal, right? So let's say you're managing that particular branch and 3 months in a row, you miss your target. What do you think happens to you as a manager? Anybody? What do you think happens to you as a manager if you miss your target? What? I'm not hearing you.
They probably would send you a memo to start.
Okay, they probably would send you a memo. And if you continue missing your target and the branch is doing poorly, what happens to you? You get what? Fired. You get fired. You're not going to fire the janitor. You're not going to fire the accountant or the cashier. They're going to fire who? The manager, right? So you're in a hot seat. So even though it's a lucrative position, right, it comes a lot of stress. So we talked just now about, and in this particular slide and in the video, talks about like kind of the rewards, managers and stuff like that, right? We were just having a conversation about the longest running CEO in the country, I believe. Anybody knows who's the longest CEO in the country, I believe? Longest running CEO, she passed away. They have a credit union name after her. I'll give you a big hint.
Would that be Miss Jane Usher?
Excellent, right? She's the longest running CEO in Belizean history, right? Usually, like managers and like CEOs in top management positions, they have a lot of pressure, right? So what the organization does, they only give them a contract like between like 3 to 5 years to run it. And afterwards, they'll give them like a different role, right? Because they don't want them to burn out, right? But she's the longest running CEO. And we're just joking about, we're looking at her interview, right, on Channel 5, and she's like, The reason they asked her, how comes like so much years you're running this particular business, right? And she's like, every time she goes home, she drinks something expensive and she relaxes, right? So she drinks a whiskey or something and then chills out. But she's like, that's a Belizean, that's an example of an excellent leader, right? And a manager in our like, spectrum of beliefs, right? So we're looking at that manager. All right, so let's break this down real quick. We're looking right now at slide number 5. All right. I just want to kind of give you some examples here, just to jot them down because they're gonna ask you for this when it comes to your exam, right? They're gonna ask you for like some examples or what that. That's like one example of a top manager, example of a middle manager, frontline manager. All right. So our organizations have what you call an organizational chart, right? For example, we're looking at this is an example of a level of management like organizational chart per se, and that's another chapter. I'm gonna break that down and give you some examples of what it is. So you have top managers at the top, you have middle managers, you have first line managers, and we have non-managerial employees. Okay, so let's start from the top. All right, I'll give you on the test or the exam. They ask you for like 1 or 2 examples or 1 example. So I'm just gonna list I'll give you about 4. All right. So example of a top manager would be board of directors. Board of directors, the example of a top manager, right? Board of directors. Okay. Especially for example, like would be like a high school, right? You have board of directors. They have the principal. They have the vice principal, right? They have the head of department. They have the teachers. They have the students. Okay. So you have them like that. So you have who reports to who, right? A hierarchy. So at the top, you have board of directors. So a next example of a top manager would be president, right? A president of a company. Okay, top manager. A next example would be a vice president, slow top manager, right? Vice president, right? Slow top manager. And CEO. CEO is also an example of a top manager. So that's more enough examples for you there, right? You just need to know about one, right? One example of a top manager. So you have options. I'm giving you options right now. Which one is easier for you to remember? Okay. So again, example of top manager, we have board of directors, president, vice president, and CEO. Okay. So those are the examples when it comes to a top manager. Everybody clear on those? Any questions on those? Everybody clear, right? All right, let's move on then. We want to go to the next one over here. Middle manager. All right, so a middle manager, example would be a branch manager. Branch manager. We also have a general manager, right? Let's say, for example, like a store, right? General manager. And also a department manager. Department store, right? Department manager. So again, the examples of middle managers are general manager, branch manager, and department manager, right? An example of when it comes to middle managers. First line managers, example of first line, so we're here now. So first line, we're looking at supervisors, right?
Excuse me, sir. Somebody
Supervisors, supervisors, and then we also have a foreman. Foreman would be an example of a first line, right? Supervisor, like for example, like a factory, right? Like a supervisor, right? Moving on.
Sir, after supervisor,
Yes,
you said what? Foreman?
yeah, foreman, yeah, like a foreman, yeah, like a foreman, yeah, like a construction company, foreman, yeah, foreman.
I spell that. F or
F
P?
O R F Foreman, foreman.
Oh, okay then.
Okay.
Sir,
At the bottom, you want me to repeat this right now? Supervisor. Question?
I was just asking, because I know you're mentioning like which one is
Yeah.
which. Would you consider an executive director a top manager or middle manager?
Top. Executive
Okay.
director is top. Yeah, top.
Okay.
All right. Good question. Next, we want to look at the non-managerial employees. All right. So the non-managerial employees, they range, they have different jobs, right? Like we talk about here, like the janitor, right? You're looking at factory worker, right? You know, people that are factory workers. You have like office department associates, like people that help out, right? Administrative staff. That'll be an next example of a non-managerial employee, right? They help the administration. Okay. So those will be some examples. In big companies like Facebook and stuff, it'll be like software developers. Those are like non-managerial employees. Just write code, write programs all day, right? So that'll be like the next example, right? They have other examples as well, but I'm just giving you like some of the main ones, right? So you can just kind of just remember. You don't have to remember all of them. Just have an idea of, like one for each one. Yeah, that'll be okay for this class. So you can include it even you do your essay questions and stuff. Okay. All right. Any questions on this part here? You all clear here?
Sir, what are the example for non-managerial employees?
All right. So again, I'm gonna go through them. Factory workers. Factory workers would be one. You have janitors, right? You have like other department associates, like help around, like messenger and stuff like that, right? Administrative staff, right? People that do like data entry and stuff, right? Administrative staff, like just like Facebook and stuff, they do like they have like software developers, people that write programs. They don't have they don't have any managerial authority, right? They're just workers, okay? And that'll be good. That'll be good right there.
Excuse me,
Any
where
other
CSR would have fallen under customer service.
CS? Hello, can you please repeat?
CSR, customer service
Yeah,
representative.
but yeah, CSRs. I would say they are like, for example, like courts, especially. If you notice, like for example here, the first line managers like a supervisor, right? And you know that courts have a lot of supervisors and branch managers, right? So a CSR would be a non-managerial employee because they don't have any management per se rule. Nobody's under them that they're in charge of, right? Like chain of command. So I'll say they were a non-managerial employee in that like a course, like courts for example, because they don't report them. Nobody reports to a CSR, right? The CSR they report to the supervisor, right? So they're kind of bottom in the chain of command there. Good question though. Good question.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Everybody's okay? All right, perfect. All right, so I kind of just want to now do a link, right? I want to kind of link something right now. It's important for us to look at the skills. We're going to look at skills now. I kind of want to link it to the levels of management, all right? So that's the next question that came up here. So skills. All right. I want to explain, I'm going to kind of be between two slides right now. I just want to kind of explain the different levels, right? So we all know right now, the levels of management, you have top manager, middle manager, first line manager, and then non-managerial employee at the bottom, right? So we understand that. So let's go now to skills. So I'm gonna pop up this slide right here. Right here. So we talk about the skills needed, right? And I want to kind of take my time here and then kind of go back. All right. Customer service. All right, right here. So this is a pictorial presentation. It's an illustration that I want to kind of break down because some people are saying, sir, I don't understand what this means, right? So I'm here to assist you. All right. Skills managers need. All right. So these three skills all managers have, right? They need to have in an organization. But each level of management, right, demands you to have more than, right, a certain skill in certain levels. This is very important, right? And I'll tell you why right now. So the first one, I kind of want to go slow right now too. You look at technical skills, right? The first one, technical skills. So knowledge and proficiency when it comes to a specific field. All right, technical skills. All right. Next, we have human skills, right? And of course, technical skills talks about techniques when it comes to performing the job on a day-to-day basis, right? So performing work tasks and stuff like that. Technical skills. Let me go back. Which one of these levels do you believe has a need for more technical skills?
First line.
First line and
As they would more need to have the knowledge of use of equipment for, say, first line managers in factories. They need to know how the equipment operates, or knowing their products at the back of their hand.
excellent, right? And that's a perfect example is first line managers. First line managers, just like what you said just now, the factory example. That was what I was going to use. Let's say, for example, Marie Sharp, right? Let's use Marie Sharp. That's a business here. Let's say now, the bottling machine, right? They have a machine that comes and do all the bottling and labeling, right? So they label everything. So let's say, for example, a labeling machine goes in, right? It's malfunctioning. So the factory line worker, that's a non-managerial employee, will that person go to the CEO and ask him how to fix the machine? No, right? They go to who they report to the what? First line manager, right? So they report to the first line manager, in this case would be their supervisor, and said, you know what, the machine is malfunctioning. That person have highly technical skills, right? Because they have to know the techniques to do the job, right, on a day-to-day basis and perform tasks, right? So first line manager has more technical skills, right? And if we go back here, and I'm just going through the slide, and you notice that with the graph, what you notice here, who has the more technical skills out of the three? Low level managers, right? So the first level manager, first line manager, has more technical skills, right, than the rest. All right. Let's move on to the second skill, human skills, right? So the ability to work well with others when it comes to working with different levels, right? And when you look at human skills, it involves the ability to work well with others, both individually and in a group setting. Because of course, managers have been other people, right? Skills are equally important at different levels, and you have to use each other, right? So we're looking now at that balance. So human skills are now more important, right, for the middle managers. Why? Because they have to be a liaison between the top managers and the lower level managers, right? So the middle managers now have that human skill, right? The middle managers have more human skills because they have to work well with people. They have to have that collaboration between top managers and then first line managers, right? They have to work with these two, all right? So if we're having issues here, right, we need to then report that then to the top manager. And of course, just like if we have solutions coming down, it comes from top bottom, right? I'm going to talk about that top bottom approach afterwards as well, right? In different structures of companies, because there are some companies that you can walk right into the CEO's office. They have open door policy. Other companies know you have to go through each line, right? So it's different. I'm going to talk about that as well. That's another class, but I don't want to sidetrack. But again, the middle manager has more human skills, right? And of course, we want to leave the last one. Of course, that's a giveaway there for that last one. Conceptual skills. Now, conceptual skills look a lot it looks at skills managers use to kind of conceptualize abstract and complex solutions, right? So we look at problems organizations are facing when it comes to, it could be external threats, competition, right? So these are the skills that they use when it comes to steering your organization into a path that you achieve your goals, and of course, you're working effectively and efficiently. So they have to understand relationships, they have to understand marketplace, they have to understand prices, price change, political change, right? So you have a whole array of external factors that you have to kind of look at. And of course, if that will change the plan, they change it, right? So again, these skills for conceptual skills are more important at top management, right? These are the people that make all the big decisions in a company, in a right? Or corporation, right? So we want to kind of go back to that real quick. Let me go up real back to that slide again. So the skill that's important for top managers is conceptual skills. So drop that somewhere else. So have that, have that difference. So conceptual skills, right? Middle managers, they have more human skills are important to them. Okay? And our first line managers, they have more technical skills that are also important to them, right? Technical skills. So I'm just showing you the relations to different management levels and what's required, right? What type of skills are required at those levels. Because both of these illustrations kind of link together, right? And that was a big question the other day that I was getting. So let's clarify this particular slide. So that's all this slide right here is showing, right? It's showing that top managers need to have more conceptual skills, looking at problems, analytical thinking, how we're going to solve them, create solutions, right? And then middle managers have more human skills because they have to work with people. They have to work with top level managers and lower level managers, right? And then, of course, you're like we mentioned earlier, lower level managers have to have more technical skills because they need to know how to actually create the product on a day-to-day basis, how the machines work, right? How the process works, right? So that's very important here for that part. Okay. Any questions here right now, guys? Any questions here right now?
No, sir.
Is it clear? You all understand it now? All right, perfect. All right, so I want to kind of go on and I'm going to give you a little bit of, I want to talk too much about its effectiveness versus efficiency, but I still have to kind of come and do it because, I have it there on my agenda, but I won't go too much into it because this is your discussion question. So next week I'm going to kind of go again and give you the example.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question, kind of unrelated though. We have a quiz coming up, right? It will be for the whole chapter.
Your quiz is just gonna be for that's the points you covered so far, right? That's gonna be the points you covered so far. Remember, if you look at your course outline, you have like some points, some bulleted points that you have to answer. You
Yes,
should know
sir,
it's just based on that. The chapter is long, right? If you notice the book is long, that's why you can understand some key points
Yes,
that
sir.
we're touching.
That's why
Right?
I ask because our long chapter, I read the whole thing and it's really long.
Yeah, it's a long chapter, but once it's just gonna ask you based on those key points on the course outline. If you look at the course outline, I can do it afterwards. I'm just gonna show you the bulleted points that you should knock out. It's not gonna be based on the entire everything, it's just based on those bulleted points that you covered. And basically it's the points from the video. Should be nothing you can knock out. Anything else? All right. So I want to give you an example here right now, right? When it comes to efficiency versus effectiveness, I'm just gonna kind of go through it and give you one of my examples for it that you can use in an essay. But and of course you can create your own as well. But I want to kind of give you a local example, right? So the first term we look at right now is when it comes to efficiency, right? So efficiency is termed as it refers to getting the most output from a least input, right, of resources. So we're looking at getting the most output from the least input, doing things right. I'll say, right, doing things right. All right, so an example of this in Belize would be, let's think about a factory, right? Let's look at a factory example. We look at inputs. We know that resources are scarce, okay? So if you go, let's say we're going out to Orange Rock, right? Cane farmers, right? So they had an issue that we were having with the cane farmers and the factory the other day. That they said the cane farmers are asking for more money from the factories because the factories are now creating 2 products instead of 1, right? Out of the same cane that they're cutting. So they wanted an increase. But they're saying now that the factory said, well, you know, their contract stated that this or this and what's that. Now, in Orange Walk, a good example of efficiency would be the concept of this cane farming. Because now you have the cane farmers cutting the sugar cane, right? So they're bringing it to the factory, right? Now, they're making what out of the sugar cane? Anybody? What do you make out of sugar cane?
Sugar.
Sugar.
Sugar, right?
Molasses.
Sugar, right? Good. No, that was the intent, right? And now what the company does, that it takes the trash, the cane trash now, and creates another product. Anybody know what that product is? What's the name of that product?
So I don't know, gas or something like that.
Exactly. It's gas. It's bagasse, right? It's bagasse they're making out of the product. So that's a true example of efficiency because getting the most output for the least input because now you don't have any waste, right? Even the waste, you're creating a product out of, right? You see what I'm saying? Right? Even the waste, you're making a product out of. And we look at that because, all right, so in the past, you just go, you cut the sugar cane, and then you bring it to the factory, right? Afterwards, you make the sugar, and you just dispose of the waste. So you're just making one product. Now, on the flip side, right, they're being more, right, efficient, right? Look at efficiency. And now they're creating a second product, right? Out of that same initial raw material. So now they're making sugar and also they're making a natural gas called bagasse. And I want to spell it for you for the people that have issues with this spelling. And it's going to be B-A-G-A-S-S-E. That's bagasse, right? And that's made from the cane trash, right? And that's another product they're selling. You see? So they're being really efficient, okay? I can give you one more example when it comes to efficiency. Let's say, let's use a sawmill, all right? So we go and we cut down the tree, right? We extract the raw material, and then the sawmill then, you know, planes makes the lumber, right? Whatever, makes the product out of the wood. How about the shavings? What can we use the shavings for? Anybody?
What you say, sir?
Let's say we're still talking about efficiency, right? So we're making 2 products out of 1 now. So we extract the lumber, right? We made the product. Yes, sawdust. So what can we use sawdust to make?
Fertilizer.
Fertilizer.
Yeah, fertilizer. Fertilizer the plant. You see right there, and you could sell it, right? You could sell it. You could go and buy it, right? So we can make another product of it. You see what I'm saying about? Right? So that's being efficient with your waste, right? We're looking at it being efficient, okay? So, and of course, there are many more examples of byproducts you can make out of these products, right? So those are just 2 examples. I'm showing you a concept, right? That being efficient talks about getting the most out of your inputs, right? So those are 2 good examples you can use on a particular essay question, okay? The last one I want to talk about is effectiveness and doing the right things. And that talks about just attaining organizational goals. With this one, it's the easier one. We used a quick example earlier. Meeting a target, right? Let's say, for example, you had a target sales to make was 100,000 for this month, and you kind of surpassed or met the target. Of course, you're being effective, right? So being effective, you're attaining organizational target or goal. You see, right? So it's important that we are both effective and efficient. But I'm going to kind of pause at that because I want to look at that next week, and I want you to kind of, look at that for your discussion question tonight. Okay? So I just want to kind of give you two examples so you can see the difference between the two, all right? Again, and they're not the same. A lot of people think they're the same. They're not the same. All right?
Sir.
All right. So I answered that question for you.
Sir.
Yeah, question? Go ahead.
What time this class was supposed to finish?
Yes, ma'am?
Thursday?
Yeah, we're done. We're done. We're just closing up now. I was answering some questions.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we're closing up now.
Sir, I
Yeah.
wish I could have stayed and answer questions, sir, but I got algebra class right now.
Yeah, go ahead. You can log off.
Got
It's
it,
okay.
sir.
We're closing up
Yes,
right
sir.
now.
Yes,
So
sir.
anybody else have any other good night? Anybody have any other questions pressing? Right? You can go ahead and put it in the chat, and I'm more than happy to answer those for next class. Right? Please kindly remember that you are to submit your discussion tonight. Right? I ask that you submit that discussion tonight, and we should be okay with that part. Right? And it's important to, when it comes to the section for the announcements, please make sure you look at your announcements and you keep abreast with what's pending and stuff like that, so you know you're on top of the game. All right. So any other questions, people? Any other questions before we close off? Any other questions? We're all good so far?
I'm good, sir.
All right, so looking out for the emails coming along, right? It's gonna be an updated group list, and I'll be sending out those assignment questions. If not this week, hopefully next week I'll be sending on those out. But as soon as I get them, I want to send them more early to you so you can jump start it with your group. All right. So look out for my email, and I hope y'all enjoy your weekend. All right. So that's it for today, guys. All right. Good night. Hope y'all enjoy.
Good night, sir.